If you're tired of wasting hours building lead lists in ZoomInfo, Apollo, or other business databases, only to get bounced emails, missing titles, fragmented company level information, and if you're struggling to find your ideal customer profile, this video is for you. I run Pulsetter. We're partnered with Clay. We run an outbound agency where we build cold email systems and lead generation workflows for B2B companies. And we've helped dozens of companies generate thousands of leads every month using AI plus Clay, without hiring more SDRs or building other RevOps systems. And in this video, I'm going to be walking you through exactly how to build accurate and qualified lead lists using Clay and ChatGPT. So getting into things over here. So why your lead lists are actually broken at the moment. You're paying too much for bad data. So ZoomInfo and Apollo industry level filters don't really give you much. And you still have to go in and manually check in the website to see whether they fit your ICP or whether or not they actually fit your customer profile. And your sales reps are wasting anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes doing manual research per lead. That should take seconds. And they should be focused on cold calls, cold emails, LinkedIn DMs, connection requests to actually generate pipeline. And I'm going to be walking you through the solution to this, which is Clay. So Clay is basically an outbound engine in terms of your database. It's basically a spreadsheet that has AI on it for you to enrich with 5 to 10, 15, 20. There's a bunch of different data providers on there that you can enrich with. And this helps you automate the company level information, helps you automate and qualify the company, whether or not they fit your ICP, helps you waterfall their email and phone number. So you pretty much get 30 to 40% more coverage than just using one provider like an Apollo or ZoomInfo, as you're waterfalling using 6 to 10 different data providers. And these parts of the market are usually untapped as well, as your competitors and other people within the competitor landscape aren't reaching out to them. So you pretty much have an edge if you reach out to companies with your offer, which other companies don't have access to in terms of data. And in terms of why it actually works and how it actually works, AI. So that's the answer to everything these days. And the way you find the right companies is with smart filtering. So Clay basically has a find companies function. You can go in there and scrape all the keywords of a specific company you're going after. So let's say you're going after commercial landscaping companies. You'd prompt GPT to find out every keyword that matches a commercial landscaping company. So keywords mentioned in their company description on LinkedIn or anything mentioned on their website. And then from there, what you can do with Clay is on the account level, you can qualify it further as well. So you can tell AI to go in and find out whether or not they're a B2B company, if they're hiring for a specific role, if they have a certain number of people in their marketing department, if they're running ads at the moment, and if they're following your competitor or other stuff that would help you essentially directly correlate to generating more pipeline. So first you'd go on the company level and qualify whether or not they fit your ideal customer profile. And then using that list, after you've qualified it on the company level, you want to first qualify the lead list on the company level on Clay, because then, if you have multiple different contacts, you're not running it again. So you already have that information. You can do a lookup and you can find out that information, pull it in from other tables in Clay, which is the useful part about the platform. Then you'll basically pull in the decision makers. So all the specific job titles. So if you're going after sales leaders, marketing leaders, technical leaders, you can filter for specific job titles just as you would with Apollo or ZoomInfo or other databases out there. And then within that same table, you'll have the company level table. You'll qualify them. After qualifying them, using that company level table, you can find people. Then after you have the find people information, like the LinkedIn profile, the email, you'd enrich the email and phone number after that. So with the waterfall, you'd use 5 to 10 different providers to enrich the email, phone number, and the LinkedIn profile URL. And Clay would basically replace the need for any other data source that you might be looking after, unless it's a custom directory that you need for your ideal customer profile, which is a pretty unique case we've run into before as well. But Clay still helps with that, as you can pull in everything into Clay and then have the visibility of everything in one platform, having your source of truth with all the different domains and company level information that you have. And after you've essentially figured out the company level, qualified them, and you found the people, you can automate company level research with signals. So Clay can go in and find out whether or not this company made a specific post, if this person recently got hired, and that company level research can be automated on the person level. So if the company has specific news on the product launch, a new warehouse that they opened up, and automatically tag that into the person. So you reach out to like a warehouse manager or like a chief operating officer, and then you can push that into like a sending software on like Salesforce or HubSpot to send an email to them, telling them about like, hey, I saw you opened up a new warehouse. Would you be interested in exploring how we have a warehouse management system? Let's say if you were selling warehouse management, and that would pretty much help you. You would, if you were manually to do that, that would take you 20 to 25 minutes of research per account. But you can automate that to your entire target market whenever that signal becomes available. So if a company has M&A news, if a company had recent funding, a recent hire, if they started running ads, new product launch, new location, new warehouse. So it really depends on your ideal customer profile and offer to figure out what type of company level research you want to automate with Clay. But you'd be able to do that, and you'd be surprised. It would save you 90%. It would save your SDRs, or if you're doing it as well, anywhere from like 80 to 90% of the time that if you were to do it manually. And you have 50 plus data sources active within Clay that you can pull in information from and do stuff with. So if you're looking for someone to do this for you, Clay is pretty abstract. So if you go into the platform, you might get a bit confused as there's so much stuff you can do within it in terms of like inbound led workflows, inbound led outbound workflows, onboarding workflows, automations. And there's only a few things within the platform that actually correlate to you driving real revenue and pipeline. And there's a lot of fluff, which still helps. But if you're solely within the weeds of getting more pipeline to the door, building accurate lead lists, finding contact information, we build this out for you. So we're essentially partnered with Clay, and we build out your lead list, set up Clay for you in-house, focus on the revenue generating activities, build out all the signals for you, automatically qualify the leads so your reps have clean data in terms of emails and phone numbers. And we also run outbound for companies if you're looking for someone to come in-house and revamp your email infrastructure to generate cold email leads at scale. But I actually want to show you how this works. I don't want to just leave you here. So next part, I'm actually going to walk you through an example of going through how we could filter for a specific list on Clay and how that would work in terms of a specific type of company that we're going after. And a big issue that I see with a normal database like Apollo or ZoomInfo is that people usually go in, let's say you're searching for cybersecurity companies, you'd go into like the industry level filters, and you'd filter for like information technology, network security, anything around technology or like hardware, software. And 50 to 60% of those companies might be MSPs, might be SaaS companies, might be some consulting companies, some staffing and recruiting companies within the cybersecurity space. And only 30 to 40% of the companies are actually cybersecurity companies. And that messes up your data sources, fragments it, makes your CRM incomplete, a lot of invalidated data in your CRM that you don't need, and a lot of companies that don't fit your ICP that you're dealing with and you might be outreaching to, wasting a lot of time on them. So we'd be able to build that whole system out for you. But I'd actually walk you through how this works over here. So going into Clay over here. So the way you want to do this is you want to go over to find companies. After you go over to find companies, you're going to get the regular filters like just on any other business database out there in terms of like industries, domains, employees, location, every filter that you might need. So you don't want to use the industry level filter. Like, as I mentioned, if we're, for example, going after commercial landscaping companies, we don't want to use this, because if we go to like facility management or anything around like facility services, recreational facilities, or like anything around landscaping services, we might find a commercial landscaping company within facility services. We might find some in landscaping services, but it won't really be as fruitful as if you were to just do it on the keyword level, because then you're actually scraping every possible person in your total addressable market. So you're not missing any data. So we essentially want to ignore the industry filter over here. Don't know what's happening here, but essentially I'll go over to GPT first. So we can filter for other stuff over here in terms of location. So let's just put United States for now. And then company size, we can go over to keywords over here. And we want to go into Clay GPT. So I don't know if you have this installed. I have a previous YouTube video on this as well, going over the Clay GPT and how effective it is to build out like intent signals. But essentially, you want to prompt it. You should use Whisper, by the way. Like, half of my conversations these days are with AI, but I don't want it to paste this. The way I want you to give me all the keywords that would fit a commercial landscaping company's company description, or any keywords that would mention on their website that could identify a commercial landscaping company, and make sure it's in a CSV that I can automatically import into, copy paste into Clay's Find Companies function keywords tab. So we've prompted this over here, and it's going to give us all the keywords. So you want to use Clay GPT to get all the keywords that fit the list you're going after and building. And from here, you're going to copy paste this into the keyword tab in Clay. So while this is running over here, we can go in and go over the other things. So you want to leave anything else in terms of, like, there's AI filters as well you can use, but you want to prompt it manually, as there's a lot of discrepancies if you do it over here. But we can put in the company size over here. Let's go for 11 to 200 employees. You can see over here on the top right, there's around 2 million results, and you can choose the limit. So let's say 25,000 records is max. You can upgrade as well based on the plan, but an average plan is 25K records. And you'd be able to put that into a table. But let's say it's gotten the prompt over here. It's put in a CSV. Interesting. But we don't want it in a CSV. We just want to copy paste it. Can you give it to me in a list over here so I can just copy paste it? I don't want to download the CSV. And now we have all the keywords. We can put this into the keywords over here. And I made a mistake. So make sure it's separated, the comma separated list, so we can automatically import this into the keywords tab on Clay's Find Companies function. It didn't separate it properly, so you need to make sure it does that. So now if we copy this and go into description keywords, now it's perfect. So you can see it automatically did that. You won't have to manually put it in. And we can see we have 14,693 companies that fit the broader area of where we're going after in terms of commercial landscaping companies. And as you can see over here, if we did it on the industry level, we would have been way off, because some of these are in real estate, some of these are in architecture and planning, higher education, farming, construction. So we filtered it over here based on the location, the keywords, and company size. You don't want to use revenue, it's not that accurate. You want to just estimate it on employee size. You just press continue. And then you have the lead list over here. On the company level, now is the fun part where you can basically play around with it like you would with ChatGPT. So you can go in and tell it to use AI, configure, and now here's where it becomes pretty funny with Clay, is that you can use the credits on the platform to natively use it, but it's a lot cheaper to use the API key. So we use GPT. We've seen GPT-04, 4.0 mini perform the best at scale in terms of cost efficiency and how fast it runs and the results. So you'd use GPT 4.0 mini, but you want to put in your API key, as it's way cheaper than just using a Clay, as you don't want to waste a Clay credit. The way we use Clay is we want to scale it with like API keys instead of using a Clay credit, as it becomes really cheaper for you at scale. So put in your API key over here, and then you can put in a prompt just as you would with ChatGPT. Check if you can tell it to generate the prompt for you as well. So generate over here, check if the company is a B2B or B2C company. If it is B2B, B2C. So it's going to generate the prompt for you to figure out whether or not it's B2B or B2C, as we're only looking for commercial landscaping companies. And then let's qualify it first on the B2B level, and then we can figure out whether or not it's a landscaping company or not. So as you can see, the prompt, it's generated over here. We're just going to go in and essentially you always run around 10 rows first, just to make sure it's running properly before you run the whole table. You don't want to waste credits. But it's going to run the rows over here. And while this is actually running, what we can do is we can make the prompt for the other filter as well. So you can see over here, it told us whether it's a B2C or B2B company. Let's just go back in here. Don't save. It took $0.0003, basically nothing. And you can run this at scale for like 10,000 rows. And if you were to manually do this, you can imagine how long it would take you. This is going into the website, figuring out whether or not it's a fit. And one more thing to catch over here, which I actually did not do, is sometimes you can filter on the description. So there's a couple of different GPTs. There's Clagent, which goes in and scrapes the website from an external source. So if you want to scrape the website, company LinkedIn, which is the web scraper. But then there's a normal ChatGPT where it just creates and modifies content of data you already have in the spreadsheet. So we already filtered it from the description level. But if we were to do it, we could also do it from the website. So go into the website and check whether or not they have information that would cater to it's a B2B or B2C company. And we can filter for that. So it's cheaper if you do it on the modify and create content on the description level, but it can be a bit more accurate if you do it on a website level, but it's more expensive using Clagent. But Clagent is super powerful. But you want to be careful with the way you use Clagent as well, as you can't just rely on it solely. You want to do one step at a time. So check B2B company, check if it's a landscaping company. If you give it 2 or 3 things at once, check if it's a commercial landscaping company that's located here, here, and there. You won't get qualified lead lists. So you want to just break it up into like one step at a time. So we asked for a B2B company first over here. And now we're going to ask whether or not it is a landscaping company. So GPT-4 over here. Identify whether or not the company offers landscaping services. You can even do commercial landscaping, but this is an example over here because we already have B2B. So you can assume that they offer commercial landscaping if they're B2B. So you can see it automatically runs this over here. If we just let it run over here, I'm going to pause it here and come back. Perfect. So it ran over here. And as you can see, we did Clagent. So we gave it the variable for the website to visit the website first and let us know whether or not it's a commercial landscaping company. So it goes on the website, automatically finds whether or not it's a landscaping company, checking all the tabs and pages on the website. And then it gives you whether or not it is. So as you can see over here, it gives you the reasoning as well. So the website is the official site of American Society of Landscape Architects, which is an organization that represents landscape architects rather than a landscaping company itself. So you can see how accurate it is. Even though they have something to do with landscaping, it doesn't just group it into like you would with any other business database. And as you can see over here, for a yes, the company provides landscaping architecture services and employs landscape architects, indicating that it operates in the landscaping industry. You can see even when it scraped the website, it's super cheap. It's 0.00046, basically negligible. The cost, it can get pricey if you're running like 30 to 40,000 rows, but it's still nothing compared to how much manual work it take or any other database that can produce this type of quality at scale. And one thing with AI is 10 to 20% of it will always be inaccurate. So that's just a hallucination. Even if you have a really fine-tuned prompt, that's just inevitable, especially if you're doing it at scale. If you're doing just a target set of accounts, a couple thousand or even less than that, pretty accurate. But if you're doing more tens and thousands of lead lists, it can get like 10 to 20% inaccurate with hallucinations. But we have it. So we got the company, we filtered for the keywords, we got all the companies. Now we got all the landscaping companies. We filtered for B2B, we filtered for if they offer landscaping services on their website. And now we want to find the people, the decision makers. So now you'd basically go in, press add, and you would press find people over here. So you find people, and it's automatically going to find it from the table that you just sourced. So you can filter on that table for B2B or B2C from the top bar. And you can filter for job title just as you would with any other thing. So if you want to go after C-suite VP, let's say we want to go after sales leaders at these companies. We just press sales over here. Can put it in here as well, sales or growth or any other sort of title that relates to it. And then you can filter for how new they are on their role. So sometimes an angle that works well is recently hired. So if there's 0 to 2 months, we can filter for it over here and mention that in the email, like congrats on the new role. And then mention that like, hey, this is our service and this is how we can help. And usually they're more open to it because it's like a new initiative. And if they're new in the role, they're always looking for help in areas where you can provide value. So you can filter for experience as well, past experiences as well. So let's say if you're looking for like a lead list of people that were at a specific company before, you can filter for that on the person level. And you can filter for the number of connections as well. So let's say if you want to create a LinkedIn campaign, we recommend having 500 plus connections to people you're reaching out to, as they're more active on LinkedIn and they're going to respond to your connection requests and messages. So you can filter for those as well. But let's just put this over here. So continue. You can filter for people on the company level as well, like how many people you want at the company you want to reach out to. So let's say 2 or 3 or whatever, but let's just put this into a new table. So we found 469 results. We can see from the top right over here. So we have the people over here. It's going to give us the job title, the location, and the LinkedIn URL for the person. So let me just pause it here and come back when it's ready. So perfect. We have the lead list over here for on the people level, on the contact level, and we can find the email and the phone number now. So all you need to do is add column, add enrichment, find work email, and you can see we have our waterfall over here. So save and don't run. It's going to run like 7 to 10 different providers to try and find the phone number and try and find the email as well. So we have one for email. Let's create one for the phone number as well. So phone number and then save and don't run. So you can see like 15 different providers over here. And sometimes what you're going to get is the number of columns. It can get this max number of 60 columns, I guess, or 70. I forgot which one it was, but you're going to get that issue. So you can delete whichever ones you don't want, because if you add too many things in the waterfall, it'll take unnecessary amount of credits. And if you have an API key, like we have a Prosview API key, we're partnered with them as well. So if you have an API key for a thing, it'll help you save the clay credits. So if you have Apollo, API key, Lead Magic, Prosview, you can use that instead of using the full waterfall. And if we save and run over here, this should run now. And you can see over here, we have all the tables to run and validate the phone number and email. So just to give you an example over here, let's run the first row for the phone number and the email. And it's basically going to search each provider. So look, the first provider found the email and found it was valid. If it wasn't valid, it'd go to the next one, to the next one, to the next one. And you get so much coverage with this because you're basically aggregating data from like 6 to 10 different providers with different methodologies on how they source it. So look, perfect. We have the phone number over here and the email. And from here, you can push this into like an outbound campaign with Outreach, HubSpot. You can enrich this with Salesforce, whatever you have in terms of the API. What do you want to push it into? Like a cadence. So Salesforce, Outreach, SalesLoft. And from there, you can start an outreach cadence. But that's pretty much the workflow on how you would source a company list and how you can tell how accurate it would be in terms of the email and phone number data coverage, and also qualifying the lead list on the account level. I'm going to be making a few more videos on the signals and how you'd be able to use those signals on like recent funding, a new acquisition, recent product launches, like if a company opened up a new warehouse, for instance, and those signals that could signal buying intent as per se. I'll be walking you through those, but thank you for watching.